Hello, trading is closed on the 16th of October 2020. We'll do our disclaimer and go over our calls. It's my plan for trading on Monday. I'm not going to predict what happens over the weekend. And if we gap sharply in the undesired direction, the call is killed before the open. No guarantee of accuracy and trade at your own risk. And here's my email. Last call, we had a few predictions. We said the commonest thing was to gap and it moved promptly outside the day's range. That happened. Next most common was to close with a change. Closed under half a point, different than where we closed on Thursday. So that happened too. And typically when that happened, there's a big move the next day. So if this all plays out, we'll have a big move on Monday. Here's what we said. There's a lower target. Unless we gap up smartly, it's favored to print. We gap up smartly, we put it on the list. It should print at some time. It doesn't have to print anytime soon. Gapped up, hit a higher high, closed under all the highs and also under all the lows. It's a negative pattern. Leads to lower prices unless we gap up smartly Monday, gap in either direction Monday I should say, and take out this high promptly. As we'll see, that isn't impossible. During the day, MEJT gave an ultimate buy signal, but optionally there was a lower target too. We got the buy, we undercut this, and that's the ultimate sell. We had this afternoon rally. MEJT said it was false and wouldn't stick. For those who like to keep track of DeMark's stuff, the last 3 bars of the combo sell don't have to obey all the rules. 11 of them do, 2 don't. So we're on a combo sell in the weekly. We have 12 of 13 bars on the sequential sell. Any trade over this close, which is 34.7714, any trade over that Monday, it's going to be bar 13, which can finish early. So we'll have combo and sequential sells in alignment. I know they've failed a lot. I'm not saying they won't fail here. But if they work, and we don't know that yet, but if they work, it leads to a very big drop. Well, this is a pattern which is normally a rally day with an early low and a high in the final hour. The high came a little bit early. Just want to count this, which is right on time. Typically, when this isn't a rally day, it leads to further declines too. The catch is we have this wall of selling into the close. Continued even further after the close. You have 2 ways to interpret this. One is the move on Friday almost always carries through into Monday. So Monday, the commonest thing would be to continue dropping. But if you gap up instead, if you gap up smartly instead, that's very positive and should lead to a good rally. And the reason it's not impossible is we have a wall into the close. It usually represents panic selling by retail customers because professionals aren't going to wait till liquidity dries up late on a Friday to sell at any price. Just get me out, get me out. If this is the real thing, there's a lot more drop to come. But if it's a false move, it should get rejected right at Monday's open, ideally by gapping over this high. And we'll find out before the open, I think, which of those 2 things happens. Here's how I'm counting the waves. Look at this wave B. We have an A, we have a B. We have to figure out some way to count this wave green C. There isn't only one count that works, but this one has good fibs. Of course, this one here had good fibs too. But this is a 61.8% retrace of the whole drop. We have an ABC, with ABC all working out, so it's a candidate for the end of this rally. Just because it's a candidate doesn't mean it'll work. And all the bulls need to do is to gap and overtake this high fast, and there's more rally to come. If not, the party's over. Monday's pattern has an early high. Don't rule out gapping down. Today's pattern usually is positive. It's a bullish pattern. When it's negative instead, further weakness is to be expected. Only if we gap and promptly overtake today's high would that invalidate the pattern, and that's not impossible, as we've said. The last move on Friday nearly always follows through into Monday. When we gap up smartly instead, it turns the tables, makes the pattern very positive instead. There's a wall of selling into the close, and it's usually a sign that amateurs are bailing out at any price. Usually and always are not the same thing. The early trade Monday should tell the tale. Either we gap up smartly and the rally continues, or a big drop is in store. It likely will be clear before the open which scenario plays out. I don't like to guess what will happen over the weekend. If we gap up and take this high out, the beautiful negative pattern has been killed. And don't forget, at some time, I expect this high to fall. I expect any drop here to be temporary. So if we can gap over this, we could easily take this high out right now. But if this continues dropping, it has everything you need for a very sizable drop with the wave blue C comparable to this wave blue A with the DeMark weekly sell signals on top of it. So if this is a big, if this does follow through Monday, it really could be extremely steep and extremely sharp. So there should be a pretty big move one direction or the other. It's a pattern with the early high, and that is today's call.